everybody, welcome to the Pagan Perspective. My name is Angel and I'm your Wednesday host, and this week we're talking about people in the pagan community that don't walk the walk. I'm going to apologize in advance. I have gallbladder issues, and I'm a little bit on pain meds. I was in the ER yesterday, so I'm a little out of it. I look a little rough. I apologize. But I am going to make my video nonetheless. Okay, so how do you deal with someone in a local, I'll put this all below, like usual. How do you deal with somebody in the local pagan community who does not want to put in the work themselves, as an individual claims to be very interested in the paganism and wants to attend events but makes no attempt to read or research material themselves and is quite pushy about wanting everybody to explain everything to them. I came across somebody like that recently, and it was really draining. I'm not a teacher. I can only point them in the right direction. Have you dealt with somebody like this in the pagan community or in general? If so, how do you deal with it? Okay, yes. I call these fast food pagans or fast food professionals, or even fast food in front of anything. And it's just basically these people want the quick and easy. It doesn't have a lot of substance. Doesn't need to have a lot of substance. They just want just something from you for nothing. So yeah, I've dealt with people like this in every part of every community. There are people, and I'm going to just talk about the pagan community because this is the pagan perspective, but it is in every community. But in the pagan community, there's several types of these people that seem this way and that are this way, but just varying degrees. Like, you have some people who are new to the pagan path, and they get so excited to be around other pagans, and they want to talk about pagan stuff and bounce ideas off people, that they constantly are like thirsty for knowledge, and that can come off pushy. So new people come off that way, but they're just a lot of times very excited to be around other pagans. You can still address that, and I'll go into that after I'm done with this. Then you have some pagans or people that call themselves pagans that are in the pagan community that, say they want to unify the community, want to be a part of stuff, but they want to do very little work. And they want all the credit for it. And they really don't know that much because they really haven't done much research. They just call themselves a witch or whatever. And in general, why would we question them? We don't know what they've done in their life or their path or anything. But then when you start talking to them, you realize they really don't know a whole lot. And those people are really exhausting because then they like to start little rumors and they accusations, and it just becomes very draining. So those people are probably worse than the people that I'm going to go over next, because they really don't know anything. They really have no desire to learn about anything, but yet they want the credit for everything. Then you have the pagans that are like in here that want all the information and really don't want to do a lot of work for it. Now, these are the non-doers, the people that just want the quick and easy as well. And they're not necessarily malicious people, they're just lazy. So, what do I do about these people? Some of them you have to rise above. The people that like to start the drama and that really don't know anything, you have to rise above that and just distance yourself from it, which, people are going to jump on their judgy wagon because they're not going to see that these people don't know anything, and you just need to let that go. And distance yourself. But you really need to distance yourself to a certain extent from all these people, even if they're not really malicious or bad people, because if it's getting to the point where you feel exhausted because you're teaching them stuff, then it's just not a good situation. I'm willing to help people most of the time. They can text me, they can message me, they can email me, and I will answer their questions as soon as I get it or as soon as I see it. I never usually have a problem, no matter what. But I like to teach people, so it's not really exhausting for me. But if somebody comes along, and there has only been one person that's come along that has been where they weren't necessarily draining, but I felt like they weren't putting in the work. And you have to put in the work, otherwise you're just wasting both of our time. So people have to have the 3 W's for me to help them. They need to have, it's called work, will, and way. They need to put in the work and want to put in the work. And they have to have the will to put in the work to find their way. They have to want their own path, not to follow yours, not to verbatim follow your specific path, but to define their own. So they have to want to put in the work. They have to have the will to put in the work, and they have to have the will to put in the work to find their way. Now, we as a community are generally teachers or sharers. We share our information. We share it with other pagans. Hey, this is how I make this for Mabon, or this is how I made my corn dolly, or this is how I made this incense for Yule, or this is how I made this cake for Ostara, or whatever it is. We generally like to share information. So if you feel like you're not a teacher and you have no desire to teach, which is completely fine, if these people get past the point of sharing information, then you have, and they're not, because you can redirect them. Hey, there's this book. Hey, there's this group. Hey, there's this YouTube channel. And if that doesn't work, then you have to rely on your ability to be diplomatic and assertive. I can't teach that. I can only tell you what I do. If I'm a pretty direct person. Not a lot of people in the pagan community are good with that. And are very uncomfortable by it. But I never mean to be malicious by it. I'm just very direct. So if somebody is being rude to me, I look at them point blank and say, are you trying to be rude, or are you trying to be rude to me, or are you just a rude person, or what's going on here? And but that doesn't work for everybody. And like I said, in the pagan community, that's not really accepted very well. People just think that can think a lot of times that I'm bitchy or what have you, but it's never that. I just want to get to the point. Are you trying to be rude to me? Okay, well then I can ignore you because I have no time for that. But if somebody is being pushy, then I will say to them, look, I understand you have a thirst for this knowledge, but you have to figure out this stuff yourself. You can't just constantly come to me or anybody and expect them to give you the quick answer. You have to do the work. That's part of this path. You have to do work. And generally, you always give somebody a blunt statement like that and then follow it up with a compliment. It's an easier spoonful to swallow. And so I would say that you have to do the work. It's great that you want to learn and you're very excited about this. I love that. But you got to do the work. And generally people that want the quick and easy, if you give a little bit of pushback, they're done. They are going to move on to the next person. And they're not going to change, so don't try to change them by trying to argue the point that they need to learn. They're either going to think about what you said and go, maybe I should put in some work and change on their own, or they're just going to move on. But for you, the best thing to do is just give them a little pushback and say, okay, you're being a little too pushy, a little too shovey about this, and I'm not a teacher. I have no desire to teach. I have, you can tell them, I don't mind sharing, but I'm not a teacher. So just stand your ground, be a little bit assertive. You don't have to be, rude. You don't have to be as direct as some people, but you have boundaries. And not everybody in this path, a lot of people who come to this path are shy or introverted, and they have no desire to be, teachers whatsoever. Don't let somebody push you past your comfort zone unless you are cool with that and you want to be challenged. But if you're not, then don't let them. That's your boundary. That's what you're willing to go through. Okay, I'm starting to ramble, so I'm gonna close this out. If you guys have any questions about this video, please leave them down below. I always love the likes and the wonderful comments. And I will see you guys very soon. Have a great rest of the week, and blessed be. Bye.